Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. It is another tactics video. I apologise that the videos have been a bit sparse over the last couple of weeks. Summer holidays have really caught up in terms of filming and getting the videos edited and out. Hopefully we can return to some sort of normal schedule over the coming weeks, but I'll let you know when that happens as it happens. As for today, we're testing a new tactic from FM Arena and let's get into it. And before we get into today's episode, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and let's get into this tactic, which is called the Pentagon Volante. So here is the tactic in question by Chanho. It is the Pentagon Volante. We have a sweeper keeper on support, two inverted wing backs on attack, two ball playing defenders on defend, two Segundo Volantes in the centre of midfield, two defensive wingers on support with a shadow striker and a false nine as the top two. Positive mentality, low crosses, work the ball into the box, extremely high tempo, very narrow, and then in transition, roll it out, counter press, and out of possession, force opposition outside, much higher line of engagement, much more often on the trigger press, prevent short goalkeeper distribution and use the offside trap. And let's get into the game now. There are 6 teams we've tested this with. One has gone horribly wrong. The other 5 have gone very well, and let's show you that now. And so the 6 teams that we took were Real Mallorca, Fulham, we took Scunthorpe as well, so you can see that would be the team that we got sacked from, Monza, Gil Vicente and Derby as the 6 teams. And we start off with Mallorca and we'll go straight into their competitions. And Mallorca finished in 7th, finishing in a Europa Conference League place with 61 points from 38 games, 18 victories, 7 defeats, 7 draws, and 13 defeats, 26 plus goal difference, which was better than the 2 teams above them in Villarreal and Sevilla. So just as we sit here, we've got it paused just in the build to this first goal. Very sort of basic 4-4-2 here. The number 12 and the number 7 sat there in the centre of midfield. Fernino, and I'm guessing that's Lee Kang-in, sat quite close to each other here on the left hand side. Looks like a basic 4-4-2. Let's see how this plays out here in the first goal. So the ball goes over to Fernino. I've got this a little bit too slow. Let's move it forward. Little flick on into Lee Kang-in. Dispossessed. Goes back to Fernino. And he'll look for that through ball, I'm guessing, to Lee Kang-in. And it'll be a finish across the goalkeeper into the far corner for 1-0. Really well worked between the shadow striker and the false nine. Move into the second goal, which is the penalty. That's Lee Kang-in, as we just speed up the match speed during the highlights. Slow it back down there for this. Frank Russo bringing it forward. A lot of men forward. This must be from a corner, I'm assuming. Out to Gonzalez here on the right hand side. Getting wide. He's the right fullback. A bit wider than I would have thought. Ball in Fernino with the header at the near post. Very simple goal there for 3-0. And then the last 2 in the second half. And again, Lee Kang-in dropping very deep there. Baba coming forward into a math, cutting inside, goes past his man towards the ball. I'm guessing he's going to look for the pull back. No, he doesn't. He beats the goalkeeper at the near post. Real Betis is very poor here. Can't really get too much information from seeing this right now. Again, 2 defenders back there. Costa with the corner kick. This should just be a simple header at the near post, across the goalkeeper. Easily done. 5-0 here against Betis. We'll have a look with some of the other teams, see if we can get a bit more of an idea of what they're playing. If you just look at the analysis here of the Real Mallorca team, you've got the two wing backs pushed a little bit further up than the centre backs. The 4 midfielders sat very narrow, but pretty much all in a line, their average position across the halfway line, and then the striker and the advanced forward. And the attacking midfielder both sat quite close together, very deep. So they're obviously coming from deep to really trouble the opposition side. But like I said, that was a massive 5-0 victory. If you just look through some of the results as well, there's no big results. 1-0 defeats to Barcelona and Real Madrid. So we just flick through a little bit more. 1-0 defeat to Atletico there. They didn't manage to get the better of some of the big teams in the league. We'll just go look at the other competitions as well. So they enter at the 4th qualifying round of the Conference League and the Copa del Rey. They got knocked out in the 5th round by Real Betis. Kang-in Lee was the top goal scorer with 12 goals. We'll just get those up now. Got 14 in all competitions. Fernino got 8. And then in terms of assists, Kang-in Lee with 8 assists. Only averaged 6.98 as well. Pablo Maffeo with the right back getting a 7.18 with 2 goals and 4 assists for them. So not what you're expecting, but a really good performance from a side that were expected by the board to finish mid-table. Poor finish to the season as well. If you just look at the season preview, that currently has them in 14th. I think they were lower than that when we started the season, but it's been a really good season for Real Mallorca there, finishing in the European places, securing Europa Conference League football for next season. Fulham next up, and Alexander Mitrovic got 19 goals as Fulham finished in 8th place. Finished the season unbeaten in the last 5 games, 2 wins, 3 draws. Couple of wins in those 3 draws at the end, and they would have made it into the top 6. 8th place for them means that they just miss out on European football. And as you all know, Fulham fight bravely against relegation. An absolutely fantastic job. 13 plus goal difference, which was 28 better than Newcastle. Finished on minus 15, 1 place below. Knocked out the 5th round of the FA Cup by Hull, 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Manchester United. And if we look at the terms of the stats, Mitrovic with 19, Joao Palhinha with 18. No one else got double figures apart from those two. And then in terms of assists, Harry Wilson got 14, Nathaniel Chalobah got 11, and the top player was Joao Palhinha with 7.24, 18 goals, 3 assists, 4.5-star current ability player for the defensive midfielder or central midfielder. He is more of a defensive midfielder, so he would have probably fit in that Segundo Volante role perfectly for them this season. Let's see if they had any big results. They started off the season wow. They started off the season with a 9-3 victory over Southampton. Now let's just have a look at the goals. Adebayo, Palhinha, Mitrovic got 2, Chalobah got 1, Harry Wilson got 2, Onoma got 1, and Joe Bryan got 1. Che Adams getting 2, and Nathan Tella getting 1 for Southampton. Let's have a look at this game. Southampton scored 3 of their 5 shots on target. Fulham scored 9 of their 14 on target. Willie Caballero must have had an absolute nightmare. Average is 6 there. Perud 5.8. Armstrong with a 5.9 as well. Really poor numbers. Let's have a look at some of the goals in this game. So goal number 1 is from a corner. Adebayo getting up at that near post, heading in. Goal number 2, Mitrovic into Palhinha. Chalobah. There's a lot of men there in that central area. Into Palhinha. He'll run into the box now. I'm guessing he'll finish across the goalkeeper. He does. Great finish from him. Third goal as Joe Bryan comes forward on this left hand side, coming in field into Mitrovic, who gets past his man. Just what time and space he had there to put the ball into the back of the net for 3-0 inside 12 minutes as well. They started off the season like an absolute house on fire. Wilson switched that back to Chalobah. A great touch and a nice little finish there from Nathaniel Chalobah for 4. This doesn't really give you a good idea of what is actually going on. Palhinha's there, dropped deep to collect that into Wilson, who's got forward from a defensive wing role. I'm guessing Solomon takes it down. Lovely play there, squares it across for Mitrovic to put it in for 5, I believe now. I think we need the abacus out at this point. Next goal, Romeo getting the pull from James Ward-Prowse after a free kick, squared across, Tella just to tap in for 3-1. I think 5-1, sorry. I think this is where Southampton have a little bit of a comeback now, I think. Team Marino again, defender getting really far forward there. Wilson coming, cutting in from that right hand side. So the defensive wingers as well, cutting inside, as well as the inverted wing backs. All of them making that pitch a lot narrower. No one really using the width on the outside. Another goal here, this one from a corner. Che Adams at the far post. I think that's 6-2 now at half time. Just after half time, Wilson with the free kick to make it 7-2. 7-2 within 46 minutes is just absolutely absurd in terms of goal scoring. Tete into Wilson, lovely touchdown to Onoma. Cuts in field, does he? That's a nice finish across the goalkeeper to make it 7, I think, at this point, or is that 8? Solomon down the line, pulls it back into Chalobah, back to Solomon, using a little bit more width there, but Chalobah and Des Bryan coming in field from that left fullback position. Lovely finish from the edge of the box for Joe Bryan. James Ward-Prowse with an absolutely fantastic ball over the top. Che Adams in behind. What you'd expect, really, against a team that should be fighting against relegation. Simple ball over the top, Che Adams beating the defender there. Just going to change it up slightly so we can have a look at the analysis and at the formation. So Chalobah and Palhinha were the 2 central midfielders. De Cordova-Reid was the attacking midfielder. We didn't really see a lot of him in that game. Only averaged a 7. One of the lowest average ratings on the pitch, apart from the goalkeeper and Manuel Solomon. Mitrovic in the striker role averaging 8.9. Joe Bryan 8.2. If you just look as well on the analysis, again, very narrow, and the attacking midfielders and the 2 defensive midfielders, Segundo Volante is very far forward for defensive midfielders. You see there, he's a defensive midfielder, central left, so very far forward for that, and very narrow. I think any team that wants to get at this Fulham side or any of the sides that we've done this with just need to get in those wide areas. It seems like a lot of space out in those wide areas. Something definitely to look at to go against. Now, Scunthorpe, we were sacked on the 11th of December after 159 days. On the 11th of December, but I think they were in real trouble already by this point. If you just look, victory against Southend, victory against Aldershot, in amongst a lot of defeats there in August. Same for September, a lot of defeats through there, apart from the end, victories against Torquay and Eastleigh. Defeats all the way through October. Papa John's victory in November, but defeats for the rest of it. And then the turning point was a 5-1 defeat in the Vanarama National League against Solihull Moors. That was the end of the road there. Final league position was 23rd, 27 points, 6 wins, 9 draws, 31 defeats with a -62 goal difference. Really didn't work for Scunthorpe here in the Panorama National League. If we just have a look at their playing staff, see who got the best in terms of the stats. Top goal scorer was Joe Nuttall with 13 goals. He had 111 shots as well to get them 13 goals. Not exactly the most prolific of strikers. He's wanted by Stockport though on transfer. Apart from that, no one else got double figures. Jordan Hallam got 9. That was about the closest, but just such a poor season. And I think it's the first time in one of these we've actually been sacked. I didn't set it to become unsackable for any of these. So Scunthorpe have been a real disappointment there for us. They've been relegated, back-to-back relegations, down to the Vanarama National League North for the next season. Slightly more success here with Monza in Italia Serie A. They finished in 17th with 33 points. Pretty comfortable in the finish considering they didn't win any of their last 5 games. 3 defeats, 2 draws. But they did the job. They stayed up. In terms of competition, they got knocked out of the Coppa Italia in the second round by Cagliari. No surprise at the top of the league. Inter, Milan, Atalanta, Lazio, Napoli, Juventus. Maybe the orders just slightly. Sassuolo finishing above Roma as well. But top 7 or 8, exactly what you'd expect. And they did a good job beating off Spezia to finish in 17th place. Maybe with a couple of victories towards the end. Could have finished as high as 14th with Lecce, Sampdoria and Empoli finishing above them. But job is done there. -29 goal difference, which was better than all the teams up to 14th. So that was very good for them. 8 wins, 9 draws, 21 defeats, 33 points. You just look how the players got on in terms of goals and assists. Leonardo Manusco with 12 goals. He was the only one to make double figures. Gaston Ramirez got 6. Stefano Sensi got 6 as well. And in terms of assists, Sensi with 10 assists. I believe he would be on loan from Inter. Yeah, that is right. Paying half of his wages, £30,500. Looking down, no massive surprise. Oh, big victory there over Lazio. 4-1 victory there. Decent month in February, beating Salernitana, beating Lecce and then drawing with Spezia 4-4. Few victories, just sporadic victories throughout the season, keeping the relegation places at bay. If we just have a quick look as well, they were in 17th for a long time, got up as high as 15th, back down to 17th to finish off the season. But if you look here, around the midway point, they were down in 18th, just in the relegation zone, but they managed to stave it off, and that is a success for Monza to get another season in Serie A. Now we go over to Portugal. Gil Vicente, who finished in 5th place, 55 points. They were expected mid-table by the board, and they lost their last 3 games. They lost their last 3 games, could have finished in 4th, got a Europa League place, but as it stands, another Europa League conference place for one of these teams. Got to the semi-final of the Taça de Portugal. Placard lost against Benfica there, and then knocked out in the 3rd phase of the Taça de Liga. So I'm guessing that is the League Cup, and that's the Portuguese Cup. So League Cup, FA Cup, so very good in all competitions there. In terms of how they got on, they were in the Conference League this year as well. Made into Europa League Conference League Group D, where they went in a group with Tobil, Dnipro and Lyon and finished in 2nd place, which means that they made the first knockout stages. That first knockout stages, they lost 5-4 to Rennes of France and got knocked out. So decent job there getting to the knockout stages of the Europa Conference League. And in terms of the playing staff, it is big when you get a player scoring 34 goals. Fran Navarro, Spanish 24-year-old, who I'm guessing is wanted by some decent clubs across Europe. Bournemouth, Sheffield United looking to take a punt on him in the top 2 leagues in England. Saint Etienne, Arminia Bielefeld, Schalke, Getafe, Heidenheim all won him. 34 goals, average of 7.37. Joint best player with Kanya Fujimoto, who got 14 goals and 15 assists. He was top assist maker as well. But them two doing that, they did an absolutely fantastic job. Other assists, Bilal Acheria with 12. Murilo Souza with 12 as well, and with the goal scorers, Ali Aliport with 13 and Vitor Carvalho, you've got 10 as well. So a lot of players chipping in. Brilliant performance from them. If we look down some of the results that they got, 1-1 draw in the cup with Porto. And just looking down, they beat Porto 5-1 in the league down here. 3-0 victory over Braga. 4-1 victory over Maritimo. Porto Manus 5-1 victory there. 1-0 defeat against Sporting. So they did really well. 2-2 draw with Benfica in the cup there. They've had some really, really good results. Back-to-back defeats there against Benfica is a little bit disappointing. But they have done fantastically well. If you just look at where the season preview has them, even at the end of the season, in 9th, 100-1. So they have really, really overperformed this season. I think it's the formation. Again, if we just tap into one of the games there, we'll look at the game against Slavia Prague in the qualifying round of the Europa Conference League. And we'll just have a look at the analysis as well of how this team is. Again, those four midfielders, the attacking midfielder and the striker, all very close, all very narrow again as well in this 4-4-1-1 with 2 DMs. And you can sort of tell, again, they pack out the middle of the park. They make it very difficult for the opposition to play. And it seems to get results, and it has here in Europe and in the league for Gil Vicente. And there's one more team left to check, and that is Derby County in League One. Let's see how they got on. And over back in England in League One with Derby County, they finished in 5th place, 88 points. Barnsley went up in the playoffs. Let's see, they got to the final, loss on penalties to Barnsley. In terms of the FA Cup, knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by Luton, knocked out in the 1st round of the Carabao Cup by Middlesbrough. So just missing out with a team where the top goal scorer was Tom Barkhuizen, who is a South African 28-year-old, 18 goals for him from 47 appearances. Top assist maker was Louis Sibley with 16. Top average rating was Curtis Davies with a 7.39. He did a good job for me in my Blackpool mini-series. Check that out. That is also on the channel as well. Again, very narrow. Those midfielders and the attacking midfielder and the striker all very close together. Again, very deep. Not providing a lot of expansion really, but again, packing out the midfield, doing the job, making players on the opposition play such low ratings. Cooney there playing a 4.8, Wright Phillips with a 7.3 in front of Kunda with a 9 in that attacking midfield role. But I mean, if you just look at it, again, the fullbacks both playing well, 7.2, 7.5. Those two Segundo Volante, 9.3 and 8.1 in this 6-4 game. Sibley with a 9.2 coming in from that left-hand side, and Knight with a 7.3 in this game, sat behind the striker, Jason Knight. As you can see, as we've said every time, very narrow, very compact, very close together. There's really no way to play between the lines with this formation. And it seems to do a job. I thought he might do a better job with Scunthorpe, with some of the weaker teams, but obviously Scunthorpe just weren't able to adapt to it, whereas Derby County have done a fantastic job, just missing out. I mean, to finish on 88 points, as we go back through to look at the league table, finish on 88 points, 3 points shy of Charlton and Barnsley. I mean, they had a better goal difference. How did they finish off the season? Did they miss out on the final day? They final couple of games, they didn't win in the last 3 games. Draws against Ipswich and Cambridge and a defeat against Peterborough meant that they didn't go back up. And if they'd have won just one of those games, we would be talking about Derby County getting promoted back to, no, we wouldn't, they'd finished 3rd, wouldn't they? They'd have had to have won 2 of those games. They'd been promoted above Plymouth back to the Championship at the first time of asking. But it's been a really successful season, barring that one at Scunthorpe, a very, very successful tactic. Such a weird one as well with the 2 defensive midfielders. Not something that you would expect to work, especially these Segundo Volantes work very far up the pitch for 2 defensive midfielders. The inverted wingbacks there getting inside the defensive wingers to be a threat in the centre of the park as well. The defensive winger role is something that I don't think I've ever used in this version of the game, but I have seen that a lot of people have had some really good success with it. Maybe why this tactic works so well with the inverted wingbacks. I would say it's a very defensively sound tactic, but in some of the games we saw, the 9-3 and the 6-4, I'm not 100% sure about that. False 9 again in another formation that we look at. Now, I've again never used this in the game of false 9, so I'm not sure how good this actually is, but it seems to be doing a really good job in this formation. I'd say pretty much success in all of them, barring the Scunthorpe one. Monza, even though they finished 17th, still success, still surviving in Serie A. If you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. As I said, we'll try and resume regular programming in the coming weeks, especially when the school holidays, then try and get back to videos Monday to Friday on the channel. But until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.